And we will continue with A House Like a Lotus by Madeleine L'Engle. The view from my room at night was as beautiful as it had been in the full sunshine, although the Sun et Lumière show was long over. I looked at the ancient stones and wondered what all those centuries did to our own troubled time. Put it in more cosmic perspective, perhaps. But even if the Acropolis speaks of the pettiness and brevity of our mortal lives, well, all our lives are going to matter. But even if the Acropolis speaks of the pettiness and brevity of our mortal lives, while our lives are going on, they matter. The ancient stones looked lit from within. Sometimes I think the past has its own radiance. I turned from the balcony, switched on the lights, and ordered my breakfast for the next morning, hanging the breakfast chit on the outside of the door. Breakfast in the room was my Uncle Sandy's suggestion. He and Rhea like to keep their mornings quiet when they're traveling, and I thought I might like that too. Continental breakfast, café au lait and croissants, and a book. It sounded good to me. The bed had been turned down while I was at dinner, and it looked so comfortable that I got undressed right away and climbed in, pushing the pillows up behind me, dutifully writing in the journal for school. Most certainly the day in Athens had not been in the least what I had expected. No Sandy and Rhea, instead a boy called Zachary. That was not the kind of thing to write down. I thought for a moment, then described the view from my room, and mentioned Aristides, the inflexibility, just to prove that travel is truly educational. And then the phone rang. I was not entirely surprised to have it be my Uncle Denny's calling from Boston. Sandy and Denny's have the special closeness of twins. All Denny's wanted to know was that I was okay, that I wasn't lonely or frightened. He and Sandy use the long-distance phone as though it were local. They both feel that it's very important to keep in touch, and I suppose they can both afford it. Nevertheless, it awes me. He asked, "What are your plans for tomorrow?" "I'm going sightseeing." "All alone?" "No, I met this guy from California who knows a lot about Athens, and he's going to show me around." "Are you sure he's okay?" "Who can be sure about anyone? I can take care of myself." "Sure you can, Paul, but be careful." "I'll be careful, don't worry." "Sorry Sandy got held up, but maybe it'll be good for you to have this time on your own." "Don't tell Mother and Daddy. Never fear, Sandy's already made me promise. Strikes me he's being more protective of them than he is of you." "He just wants me to grow up," I said. "You will. You already are in many ways." We said goodbye, and I felt warmed by Denny's call. Sandy had promised me that what Max had called him about wouldn't go any further. He wouldn't tell anyone, even his twin, and I knew he hadn't. When I put the phone down, I looked at my school journal and decided I was too tired to write anymore. I slid down in bed and turned out the light. It was cool enough, with the balcony windows open to the night breeze, for me to snuggle under the covers. I plummeted into sleep and slept deep down dark for a couple of hours, and then woke up and felt myself floating to the surface. At first, I thought I was in my familiar bed at home, but I heard street noises instead of the surf rolling and the wind and the palmettos. I was alone in a hotel in Athens. Sandy and Rhea were still in Washington, but Zachary Gray was not far away in the Hilton. Amazing. What time was it at home? Never mind, I'd better get body and mind on Greek time. I leaned on my elbow and peered at the travel alarm. Midnight. I lay down, wrapped the covers about me, too hot. Pushed them down, too cold. Slipped into half sleep. Half dream. Rennie. Queron Renier. With a name like Queron, who wouldn't want to be called Rennie? Like Zachary, Rennie was tall, taller than I. Most of the kids at Cowpertown High were shorter. Zachary was sophisticated and exotic. Rennie was serious and nice-looking in a completely unspectacular way. His light brown hair bleached in the summer from sun and salt water. His gray-blue eyes peered behind thick lenses and heavy frames. In the dream, he was standing beside me on the open veranda at Bouillère, wearing his white doctor's coat and with his stethoscope dangling out of his pocket. Looking like a young doctor on TV, he said, "An intern's life is hell." The way he had said it to me, at least a dozen times, but in a tone of voice that belied his words. Rennie loved being an intern. He loved the hospital and everything about it. When I first met him, I assumed he was at the M.A. Horn Hospital because it was the only place he could get. Rennie is from Charleston, and there are bigger hospitals in Charleston. There are bigger hospitals in Savannah and Jackson or Richmond or Baltimore. In the dream, he sat on the white rail of the veranda. You watch out for this guy who's picked you up. I don't trust him. I can handle him, I said. You're much too sure of yourself, Polyhymnia. O'Keefe, pride goeth before a fall. I'm not really sure of myself, I said. It's just a front. It was. I'm sure of myself as far as my brain is concerned. I've got a good one, thanks to my genetic background. But in every other area of life, I'm insecure. I can talk easily and comfortably with adults, but not with kids my own age. Watch it, Rennie said, his voice echoing in the dream. Watch it. Watch it. His warning woke me and brought me back from Bouillère to my bed in the King George. I was hot, so I got up and went out onto the balcony, and the night sky was extraordinarily blue, which was deep behind the stars. Blue and gold by day, blue and silver by night. I wondered how much human nature had actually changed in the thousands of years since the Acropolis was built, and if all that had happened to me was so extraordinary after all. I'd seen Rennie every week or so during the past winter and summer, going out with him for barbecue or pizza on his rare free evenings, and listening to him talk about tropical medicine was a good antidote to not being asked to dance at the Cowpertown High School. But that's all it meant until a couple of weeks ago. Rennie was still an antidote, but for something far more cataclysmic than not being asked to a dance or watching my cousin Kate go off with a bunch of kids, usually including Zan, while I stayed home. Kate is everything Mother and Daddy would have liked me to be. She's not short, but she's shorter than I am, and when she goes to a dance, she doesn't loom over the boys. And she's beautiful, full and beautiful. I'm no longer the same measurement all round. I have reasonable curves, both in front and behind, which is a big improvement over the pole I used to be. But Kate has pheromones which draw boys to her like honey. I wasn't exactly jealous of Kate. I didn't even want to change places with her. I was just wistful. The light of the Acropolis was different now than it had been earlier, a deeper, darker blue, with many of the city lights extinguished around it. Though not all. Cities never go completely to sleep. While they are alive, that is. I stood looking at the pearly light on the stone until I was chilly. Then I went back to bed. Edges of dawn were outlining the windows as I slid into sleep. I didn't wake up till there was a knock on the door. Breakfast. I was wide awake in an instant. Breakfast in Athens. I grabbed my bathrobe and rushed to open the door. A nice young waiter, who looked like pictures of Greek statues, carried in a breakfast tray, which he took out to the balcony. There was a pot of coffee, a pitcher of hot milk, a dish with croissants and toast, jam, honey, and butter. When we lived on Gaia, and school was wherever Mother and Daddy decided we should start lessons, breakfast was unhurried, too. We fixed trays and ate in our rooms and emerged into the day when we felt like it, some of us getting up at dawn, but not till 7 or even 8, some not till 7 or even 8. But at Benny Seed, we were on a schedule. We had to get to the mainland in time for that school bus. So, though Mother set breakfast out and we were free to get our own and eat it whenever we liked, we couldn't help bumping into each other. If Mother and Daddy could have gone on teaching us, I might have loved Benny as much as I loved Gaia. It was Cowpertown and the high school which depressed me. The island itself was home. So breakfast alone in Athens reminded me of breakfast on Gaia, though it was much more elegant. I thanked the waiter in Greek, which was, if not flawless, at least understandable, and he beamed at me. Paracalo, he said, and then he pointed to the Acropolis with the morning light bringing the stones to life. Gabbed at me in Greek, beamed again, and left. The telephone rang, jolting me. I went back to the room and answered, and why was I surprised when it was Zachary Gray? I just wanted to make sure we were getting together today. He was worried about me backing out? Of course. Have you had breakfast? I'm having it right now, out on the balcony enjoying the view. We'll have lunch together somewhere then. So I want you to see the view from my balcony first. Can you be in your lobby at 10 sharp? I looked at my watch. It was just after 8. Sure, see you at 10. And we'll pause there.